here's our training for tonight. The other day I heard Jaime doing some training. And I think Frank was there. I was like, more people need to hear that, because it was like the training from just back to basics.
Basics.
A lot of
Yeah.
time people call in, man. I hear it all the time. They go, a lead called in, they wanted 250,000. They were 70 years old. I couldn't do anything for them. And that was like the way it was when I first got into business. I remember going from house to house to house, like, nope, couldn't get that, couldn't get that. Mortgage protection leads are generally older people. And I remember doing that. And I went to Frank and asked him a question. And I was like, Frank, what do I do? And he was like, you got to learn how to ask questions. And it took me a long time to learn how to do that. But the training that Jaime was doing on Friday with one agent, I was like, everyone needs to hear that because it's powerful. And I think a lot of times we get away from that. No matter what comes in on any type of lead, it's about asking questions and figure out what the need is, and then present a solution to that. So I'm excited to train tonight on this topic. It's all you.
Well, thanks for having me. So that picture that was just up, that podcast that they got that picture for the call tonight. So I'm just going to give you guys a little piece. So when Frank and I first got started in the business, things weren't what they are today, right? The income wasn't what it is today. And we did a podcast a while ago, and for years we never told anybody this, but when we first got started in the business, we pawned my diamond on my wedding ring. And we got like $15,000 for it because it was nice. It was a nice diamond. It wasn't like the lab grown stuff that, you guys are, that is available today as like a real diamond. And I went for years with a fake diamond. And I'm not talking about like a lab grown diamond. I like a cubic zirconian. While we grind it out, this business. And I think sometimes people forget that this is a grind. Like this day and age, like they do $40,000 in a month, and then like the next month they do 20, and they're like, oh my God, this is terrible. Like I'm so broke. And they're like, they live at home, or like they have no bills or no kids. It's like, hello. Like you have no idea what the grind was for years to get where we are today. And so this business comes with a grind. And so you just need to buckle up and get after it. Whatever happened with like hustle, right? Like what is wrong with is there something wrong with hustle these days? Like everybody wants everything so easy and fast and quick and like perfect and perfect lead and perfect phone call and perfect client. And they all just want to say yes. Like what? There is a grind. There is a grit. There is you have to get after it. And I think we've somewhere along the line in the past several years, we've like lost that somewhere. And we've got to remember that like the good stuff doesn't come easy. If so, why would ever we would have people banging down our doors, begging us to be part of this thing. If it was just easy. There isn't a perfect lead. There isn't a perfect, carrier. There isn't a perfect upline. There isn't anything perfect, but you have the ability to control all the things that the financial piece of this can do for your family. When Frank and I were, for those years and years and years of grinding, I just want to remind everybody, years ago, I went back and just kind of went backwards and tracked like our numbers. And based off of what it took to become a millionaire, it took 30,000 no's. Let me say it again. To become a millionaire, it took over 30,000 no's, meaning 30,000 times someone told me no. 30,000. So I'm just wondering, what would you not do to become a millionaire? Would you take 30,000 no's? Like it's just a no. No one came to me with a gun and pointed it at my head. No one robbed me. No one stole my children. Nobody, we didn't have camp. Like I didn't have to overcome big things. It was just a no. That's it. It was a no 30,000 times. That's all it was. So I think sometimes we have to remember, like, okay, how many times were you told no today? How many? 100? 300? Like, let's hurry up and get to the 30,000, because that's when the stuff gets real good. But we get told no 5 times in the week, and it's like, oh, this isn't working. Like, no, that is working. Actually, you just didn't have enough of them. So let's hurry up and get through the no's. And stop making it seem like getting a no is like something wrong with something's broken. Something's broken with the lead, something's broken with your script, something's broken with the carrier. It's not broken. That's just part of the deal. It's just you just have to get to you're gonna go through the no's. We just need to hurry up and do it. You're just dragging it out too long. It's like you got to get through no's fast, really fast. So, but we are going to talk a little bit about like some of this meat and potatoes that we were talking about the other day. You know, I think sometimes we get hung up on like face amounts and premium and you know those types of things when really what we need to start thinking about is every lead being a family member that's maybe just too distant from your family. So if I look at a lead like it's actually maybe two distances from my own family, I probably would treat that person not just like another face amount or another bill or another, you know, AP, right? Or, you know, whatever. They're not just another transaction, it's actually a family. And my job as their insurance agent is to figure out a plan that tomorrow, if they don't wake up, that their family has peace of mind that they don't have to think about the financial piece of their death. And that's the reality. This isn't about this isn't about a new bill. This isn't about $200,000 face amount that covers their mortgage. No, this is about a plan that in the event tomorrow they don't wake up, that their family is better off because we talk today, right now. Because whether it's death or a heart attack and they still lived, or a stroke and now they can't walk and so they can't get the coverage that we could get them today, we need to put them in a better position today than they would be if we didn't talk to them yesterday. And that's what this is about. And so our job is to figure out what life is going to look like in their little bubble if we don't put a plan in place today. And notice how I didn't say a policy in place, because a policy is it's a transaction. Something happens and they've just got their policy, their hot water heater goes up and now they can't afford their policy, they're going to cancel on you. But if they have a plan that they know that God forbid something happens, they don't want to let it go. They don't want to let that peace of mind go, because in their mind they can physically see what we talked about today, and they're more apt to keeping this thing in place, and they're more apt to do business with you in the future. They're more apt to you know, give you referrals. But you have to be the person to paint the picture and come up with the plan, whatever it may look like for this family. It's not going to be the same for just because someone wants $200,000. We don't even, some people just say numbers out of their butt. They're just like, oh, I need $200,000. Like, where did you even come up with that number? Like, why? Like, does that just sounded good? Or like, where do we get this from? So our job is to figure out what life is going to look like tomorrow if we don't have a plan in place today. And sometimes that plan is just, we just need to supplement. We need to just add something in addition to what they already have going on. Or maybe it's because they're older and we know that they can't afford these big amounts. Or maybe it's their health that doesn't allow them to afford these big amounts, but some plan is better than no plan. It's like I was thinking about like even my own mother. She you know, we help her with her finances and all that stuff, and she asked us a lot of questions about different things, and she just moved, and so she was like just getting all her like affairs in order because she retired and things like that. And she sent me a picture of a whole life insurance policy, and she says, hey, do I need this? And I'm thinking to myself, I know I'm the beneficiary, so let's see how this is gonna go. And so I'm like, well, is that your only life insurance? And she said, well, yeah, that is. I was like, okay, well, I know her finances and I know what else she has going on. I was like, well, were you going to use that for, you know, like your burial and things like that? Or did you have like something else in place for that or what? She's like, yeah, I was going to use that for my final expenses and my burial stuff. I was like, okay, well, if that's all you had, then yeah, you do need to keep it because that's important. Like, I know that we can afford to bury her, but like, she doesn't want a burden to me to have to come out of my bank account for it. So she needs to keep, she's an adult. Like, and all of these people who we talk to every single day are adults. They don't want to burden their children. Just because that my mom could easily say, oh, my daughter's got it. My son-in-law, they'll handle it for me. But no, she's got her own plan. She is an adult. And I think we have to remember that when people try to give us that excuse. It's like, first of all, why'd they fill it out anyway? They filled it out because they knew deep down in their heart they didn't want to burden their family. They don't want to burden their kids. Their kids may have it, but nobody wants to leave out of this earth thinking, yep, I just threw a $25,000 bill right in their lap. Congratulations, here you go. No, they don't want that. So we have to quit taking their reasonings why they don't want a policy and a plan today as just this. It's not factual. But we also have to do a better job of asking good questions to help get them to this pathway that we know that we need to put a plan in place today. And so we're just going to run it by a few scenarios. And one of those scenarios is for an older person, look, they say, oh, I need $100,000. Now, first things first, if we've already went through their health and I know that they're not getting $100,000, I'm never telling them that they're not getting $100,000. We don't need to say, yeah, that's not going to happen. You will never, ever, ever, that will never come out of our mouth that we are not getting them whatever they ask for. Because what I need to figure out is one, what they needed that money for, and two, what is life going to look like tomorrow financially when their income isn't here. So I need to ask good questions. Well, who's the person who's going to be picking up the pieces when you pass away? Do you have a mortgage? Do you have any equity in the house? Do you have anything that would act like life insurance when when you pass away? We just need to start asking good questions so we can understand what the full picture looks like. And then we can make a good decision or a good recommendation for them that they might not even need 200,000 or 100,000, even if they thought that's what they needed. So in that scenario, when we know that they can't get, a big term policy or whatever, maybe it was because they wanted it to cover their mortgage. Well, we have to understand a little bit of a lot of things. We need to understand that if they're on Social Security, whoever the two people are on Social Security, the biggest one is staying for a married couple. We need to understand that. We need to know that they're bringing in two Social Securities, and when that one passes away, now they're left with one. We have to just be mindful of this and bring it back up. So now Mr. John and Miss Betty understand that tomorrow, if Mr. John passes away, $1,000 that Miss Betty was getting is now gone, and now they only have the $2,000. That's a third of their income is now gone just because he didn't wake up. And so we've just painted a picture of what that's going to look like. I don't know about you, but even me saying it, I can see a married couple, been married for years, and he didn't get up this morning, and now that income, now she's stretched very thin. And we don't have a plan in place for this. But today, since we're going to help them put a plan in place, now they have an understanding. We have a hole and we need to fill it with an application. So that way the water doesn't run out of the hole. But again, we just need to know a little bit. We don't need to know everything about everything, but we need to know a little bit. Need to have a little bit of an understanding. And let's just say that they do have a mortgage and their kids live, at a distance and they don't have any way to just, figure out where she's going to up and move. Maybe she needs some mortgage payment help. Okay, so that's what he wanted the pay. That's what he wanted the coverage for, to help pay off the mortgage. Well, we can't pay off the whole amount, but I'm never going to say we can't pay off the whole amount, but I am going to show him how we're going to make 3 whole years worth of payments for Miss Betty. So what we're going to do, Mr. John, is it sounds to me like if we can just keep Miss Betty in the house for a few years, so that way, God forbid, you don't wake up tomorrow. She's not trying to figure out what she's going to do with the house, where she's going to live, how she's going to afford to pay for your burial and everything else that kind of comes up on a monthly basis. We just need something in place that's going to kind of put that bridge in place to get her over into this next season of life. That's where you're not here. Is that what I'm hearing from you, Mr. John? I just painted a whole picture of what it would look like if Mr. John didn't wake up. I didn't say I'm going to give you so Mr. John, I think we're going to put $25,000 in place and it's going to be $263 a month. I'm going to tell him how much it costs and I'm going to talk about all that, but he needs to see the plan, not just the policy. He's got to see the plan so he has peace of mind and he can sleep better at night knowing that she is taken care of. Does that make sense? Frank, did you want to hit on anything like that? Or anything that I'm talking about?
Nope, not yet. You're killing it.
So this is just kind of where we're coming into, like, asking some of these good questions. Let's just say it's burial and someone filled it out because they want burial. Yeah, I need like 50,000. Okay. Well, 50,000, they might be, let's just say they're in the late 70s. Maybe you're already in your mind, you're like, I already know 50,000 gonna be $500 for him. He is not gonna be able to afford it. We're not gonna spend their money for them. We're gonna show them what a plan looks like based on the information they're telling us. So, Mr. John, you don't wake up tomorrow, who's the person who's going to be picking up the pieces? Well, my daughter. Okay. And does your daughter live close by, or does she live at a distance? Oh, she lives right around the corner. Okay. And does your daughter, does she work, and is she married, children, anything like that? Oh yeah, she's married. She's got a couple kids. Okay. And would you say that like she's someone who like, she just middle America, pays her bills, she's good to go. She's not like ultra rich or, you know, terribly poor. She's just middle America, just like you and I. Yeah, I would say, okay. So is it fair to say that like she's not sitting on like a lot of money to like, get you buried? Like we're not getting out of here for free, but she doesn't have the money to pay for it. Yeah, I would say probably that. Okay. So what we're going to do today is we're going to try to figure out a plan so that way, God forbid, you don't wake up tomorrow, your daughter, Jennifer, she doesn't have to like try to figure out where she's going to come up with the money. Does that make sense, Mr. John? Yeah, okay. And have you had to bury anybody recently, or do you know anybody that's had to bury anybody recently? Yeah, well, we had to bury my sister 3 years ago. Okay. And do you remember how much that cost? Okay. Again, I've just painted a whole picture of what his life looks like. She has his daughter, lives close by, her little family. She has to now pay for this. He knows how much it costs because he just thought now he's revisiting his sister's funeral and that he had to stroke a check for that. So we've just painted a picture. Now, even when I go to show Mr. John how much it's going to cost to bury him, because that's what he said he wanted, burial, I'm not just going to say like, okay, well, here's here's 20,000, 15,000, 10,000. I'm going to show, okay, so you had to bury your sister. Yes. Okay. And how much was it that, when you buried your sister? Well, it cost us about 15,000, but now it's probably 20. Okay. Yeah, that sounds about normal. And then did she have any life insurance in place, or did you guys like have to all come together? Like, how did you guys pay for that? Oh no, okay. She had life insurance. She had it all taken care of. Okay. So that probably felt really good to you that like the financial piece was taken care of. Is that what I'm hearing? Yeah. Okay. So that's what we're going to make sure that we do today for Jennifer. We don't want to have to be figuring out GoFundMe's and figuring all this stuff out. God forbid you don't wake up tomorrow. Is that right, Mr. John? Yes. Okay. So you said 20,000 is what you think. So what we'll do is we'll try to figure out a plan based on your health. Obviously life insurance is kind of like car insurance in a way, like Mr. John, if you've had a lot of DUIs, you're not going to get the best car insurance. It's kind of like your health. If you've had a lot of health challenges, you might not get the best price, but you can still get coverage. Does that make sense for you? Yeah. Okay. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to try to figure out your health, your lifestyle, your medication, and get you the best price for basically what's going on in your little world. And then we'll figure out how much money we can get Jennifer. God forbid you don't wake up tomorrow. So now we've just kind of went through all that. Now, when I'm presenting like I'm giving a check to Jennifer. So, Mr. John, so what you said is about 20,000. I'm going to show you a little bit less, and I'm going to show you a little bit more in case inflation or she wants to do a little bit something extra. But I'll show you exactly what you're asking for too. So, God forbid in the event you don't wake up tomorrow, Mr. John, we're going to write a check to Jennifer for 12,000. And that's going to be, 136.72. We could write a check for Jennifer for 20,000, which is what you were asking for, and that's the 247 or whatever the price is. And then the little bit more $25,000 check for Jennifer. And so you hear I'm telling him that it's a check for Jennifer. I'm using the beneficiary's name every time because it's deeply personal. I don't know about any of you, but if you've ever had to go to a funeral, be at a funeral, family member of a funeral, who had to be the one to stroke the check, you need to it needs to be personal to you. Like, this is your Mr. John. Like, this is your Miss Betty. Because When it's not personal, it just becomes a transaction, and it's just like we're just putting numbers on a board. Guys, these are families who raise their hand and ask you to help them with coverage, ask you to help them put a plan in place. God forbid tomorrow their world is flipped upside down and they can't think about money. All they can think about is, how am I going to do life without my love, the person that I've been doing life with my whole entire life? My world, what used to be will never be again. And so we don't want them to have to think about it. That's why they filled out the form from the get-go. They didn't fill out the form because they want a new bill. Nobody fills out forms wanting a new bill. But they did fill out a form because they wanted peace of mind in the event that they don't make it home tomorrow. That's it. That's what life insurance is. It is peace of mind. Our loved ones don't have to worry about, God forbid, we can't take care of our family tomorrow. So we have to have this mind shift switch of, we are just it's like, I laugh, sometimes people get these IUL leads and they're like, all they ever wanted was life insurance. I'm like, what do you think you're selling? Figure out what the problem is with the person and give them life insurance. That's what we're doing. We're doing life insurance here. Hello? Like, oh, well, they wanted something that would, that they could put money into and start. Okay, but do they have life insurance? Like, guys, we need to figure out what their life looks like right now, so that way we can know how to help them. God forbid they don't wake up tomorrow. And every person needs to be treated as if it's your family member, as if someone who knows you said, hey, here's a referral for somebody who has said they needed life insurance. That's how every lead is treated. We're just 2 distance away from knowing each other. It's almost like they were just a referral from a family member. And I would want someone treating my family, if they were talking about something as important as life insurance, as if it was their own family, not just like a new policy, not just like it's 2,700 AP on the Discord leaderboard. This is a family. And these are people who are relying on us to make sure that they are guys, if we get off the phone with them today and we didn't help them with a plan, we're really not doing them any justice, because the probability of them actually talking to somebody else, going through all the health questions, telling them all the medications,
Mike, can you mute that? I'm going to freak out.
telling them all the medications, talking about how much burial is going to cost, talking about how much they have in the event something should happen to them. The probability of them going through all that again with somebody else is very minimal. And now guess what? We've just left another family unprotected. We have them right now on the phone, and we need to move them to a place to do what's best for their family. And sometimes they don't even realize what's best for their family. They don't. Sometimes they just need somebody to tell them what to do. We were talking a little bit about that as well the other day. We're talking about, like, when we show them the prices and we show them the plan and we painted the picture, why aren't we just moving into the application? Why are we waiting for them to tell us, like, which one they want or which new bill they want? No. We're moving straight into the application. We're doing this today. There's no thing. We don't need to think. We've already thought about it. They thought about it when they clicked. They typed in all their information. They just now spewed to us their whole life. They've told us all about their family and what life's going to look like tomorrow when they're passed away, and their health and their medications, and that they love pickleball and all these things. They told us everything. Why wouldn't we just move right into the application? All right, Mr. John. So you don't have to tell me right this second which one, is going to make the most sense to you every single month. We need to see if we can get you approved, and I don't make that decision. So we'll just start, making sure we get you, fill out the application appropriately. And then when we get to the point where you can decide which one makes the most sense, you can tell me then. So anyway, I remember here you said your date of birth was 3/11/77, correct? Yep. Okay. And then you said that you were from Baltimore. Your address? Okay, got it. And then obviously Jennifer, she's the beneficiary. Now she's going to be the only person handling the affairs. Guys, I'm going straight into the application. We don't need to sit around and wonder and wait if they're going to do business with us. They're already doing business with you. Hello, newsflash. And guess what? We've already made sure that we have a plan that, God forbid, they don't wake up tomorrow, that everybody's sleeping well tonight. We don't need to think anymore about anything. And best believe they've probably already been thinking about this for a while. Nobody usually fills out anything about life insurance the first time they think about it. Nobody. I haven't met one person, me personally. I didn't one day just wake up like, yeah, you know what, today I need life insurance. Okay, I thought about it. I didn't probably act on it for weeks after that. I'm sure every person on this Zoom call tonight can relate to that. If you bought you're a life insurance agent, and you've probably thought about getting more life insurance, and guess what? You probably put it off. So the people you're talking to, you're not the first time they've ever thought about life insurance. They've been thinking about it. You don't need to accept the craziness of them telling you that they need to think about it. We just put a plan in place, and it's solid, it's stamped, it's sealed, it's going to be delivered, that they don't need to think about it anymore. We've been thinking about it. We're moving into the application process right now, and we don't need to ask them if they're ready for it. We already know they're ready for it when they hit the send button and gave us their information and said, hey, somebody please help me with coverage today. I need to make sure that my kids aren't putting up 20 grand. And so it has to become personal. You all should be thinking about maybe someone that you know that had to pay for this, or it either affected their life in the positive or in the negative life insurance. And if you don't know anybody, start asking around. Somebody has a story of somebody that had to go through death, and it either they had it taken care of or they didn't. They either talked about it or they didn't. They put up a GoFundMe or they didn't. And that's the difference that we're trying to make sure that we accomplish. We want to put a plan in place. God forbid something doesn't. So we're done with saying face amounts and all these things that I hear people saying. We're done with saying, you know, your new, your price, or I'm going to get you a quote. We're not quoters. We figure out plans and put them in place. That way people can have peace of mind. Period. Ooh, that was a lot of peace. But we're not quoting anything anymore. We're not giving anybody quotes. If someone calls you and asks you for a quote, like, we'll get to it, but we need to figure out a plan first. I just got to ask you a few questions.
Jamie, in the comments that Corey put up something, I hear a lot of people do that. She said, or he said, I had a 79-year-old that wanted $1 million in coverage, and I did tell them he was out of luck. And a lot of people, as soon as they hear it, they're like, sarcastic with the person, like, oh, don't you wish something like that? How would you handle that if you took a lead and they wanted $1 million? What would you say? 79 years old.
Yeah. So guys, I think first things first, people get too emotional about everything. If someone gives me the I want $1 million, I don't need to come up and say, yeah, good luck. Be like, okay, let's figure out what it is that you needed the $1 million for. I'm very, very, very level. We're not getting real, oh my God, he wants $1 million. Oh my God, he's too young. Oh my God, can't afford it. Oh my God, he's too sick. We're not getting all emotional about it. I'm like, all right, perfect, Mr. John. Well, let's figure out exactly what it is you need the $1 million for. We'll try to figure out a plan that we can make sure that we, accomplish what it is that we need to accomplish. God forbid, wake up tomorrow. So I have a few questions for you, and then we'll figure out what it is that we can do for you. So tell me a little bit about what was going on when you filled out the form. The $1 million, like what were you thinking that you were going to use it for? What did you need it for? And maybe they have a business or something or maybe they have a big mortgage or whatever, but we need to understand, what's the money going to be allocated to do? Why do they need $1 million? I think some people just say numbers that are like just off the hook, outlandish. Well, by the time I paid off the mortgage, I need to make sure my wife has some extra money, blah, blah. Okay, perfect. And how much is your mortgage right now? Well, my mortgage is $500,000. Okay. And how much is the house worth? Well, the house is worth 800. Okay. So I'm tucking that piece of information away because they have 300,000. So that's, in my mind, that's what we're going to be protecting when we get to it. All right. And does your wife, and her name? Sandy. Okay, Sandy. This is Miss Sandy work? No, she's stay-at-home mom. Okay. And Mr. John, tell me a little bit about how much income you bring home every single month. Well, I bring home about 12,000. Okay. And how old are you? Well, I'm 40. Okay, perfect. Or maybe he's 70. You said he's 70. He's 78. Okay, so you're still working. Okay, yeah. And do you plan on retiring at all anytime soon, or what's your thought process on that? No. Okay, and that 12,000, is that all income? Do you get any Social Security yet? Well, I get about 5,000 in Social Security, and then 7,000 I get because I still work. Okay. And then if you pass away tomorrow, how much of that is going to go away? Like, does that 7,000, is that like, will you still keep receiving that, or because you're not working, it's gone? Like, what does that look like? So I'm just trying to get an idea of what it looks like financially. What's going away when he goes away? What do we need to protect? Yes, he might want $1 million, but we might not be able to give him that. If his income is 12,000, maybe we can give him 100,000, which is just about a year's worth of salary until she figures out how to sell the house, do a reverse mortgage, move to a condo, something. Because we know that somebody who's 70 years old trying to get $1 million, come on. Let's not, I mean, we all know that's ridiculous.
They're just messing with you anyway.
Yeah, because I mean, if you want $1 million for the coverage, you would have got that in your 30s, or 20s. You
No
don't get
doubt.
that in your 70s. Nobody gets that in their 70s.
79.
But I can come up with a plan. They wanted some sort of plan. And they don't know what the plan is because they're not the professionals. We're the professionals who have to ask them the good questions to understand what are the finances going to look like tomorrow when they do not get out of bed, period. Without saying, hey, what are you going to look like in my, we just have to keep asking these little questions. Okay, could Sandy get a job if she had to, or she doesn't work at all? No, she's not gonna. Okay, now Social Security wise, how much does she get for Social Security? She gets 3,000. I get 5,000. Okay, so 3,000 is gonna go away, and now she's gonna be left with 5,000. Got it? Okay, so it sounds to me like, Mr. John, I understand why you filled out the form. You filled out the form because God forbid you don't wake up tomorrow, she's gonna be up the creek without the paddle, if you know what I'm saying. So we're going to have to figure out just some things. And all we're probably going to do, Mr. John, is just get her over this bridge. So that way she doesn't have to think about the finances, but we can bridge her over so she can feel a little bit more comfortable while she figures out what she's going to do with the house and her new bills now that you're not here. Does that sound like a plan, Mr. John? That's all we're doing. We're just bridging a gap that might just be temporary for now, because they didn't get their affairs in order like they should have when they were 30, 40, 50, or whatever. Now they're 78 and need to get their affairs in order. And we're trying to work with what we have. But we are still going to give them a plan. And the plan isn't like, well, Mr. John, I can't get you the 1 million like you like, but I can get you 25,000. No, Mr. John. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to get you a plan together that, God forbid, you don't wake up tomorrow. We're going to show Miss Sandy how she's going to be able to make the mortgage payments for 12 months. Okay, we're going to give her a little extra for burial. I know you said you have a little bit in the savings, but she might need that for other stuff, because now her 3,000 is going away, and then your other money is going away too, because you didn't wake up this morning and she's stuck with just the 5,000. So we need to figure out how we're still going to at least be able to keep a roof over her head, keep the lights on, and be able to eat, just to bridge her over until we figure out what we're going to do with this big house that she probably doesn't really need, because it's just the two of you. And now she's down to one. Does that make sense, Mr. John? But you have to be compassionate about it. You have to sound caring. You have to sound like you actually care. You're not just like another person getting another app on the Discord board. Like, I care that I need to help him put a plan in place. That way she can sleep at night. Because I can tell you, most women, what they want in their men is to feel financially secure. If you pulled every single wife that was even on this board right now, I would promise you that 99% want to make sure that they feel financially secure. We don't want to feel like we're out of control with our finances. And so if you're talking to a married couple, that's what his wife wants. His wife wants to make sure that, God forbid, something happens to them, she's good to go tomorrow. And whether it's just for a time period, trust me, it might be just enough till she finds a new man. Who knows? Or maybe it's just enough till she sells the house and gets a condo. Or maybe she moves in with her kids. Or maybe she reverse mortgages the mortgage. But she has options now, because she's got a little bit of money that she can make payments and just keep things afloat until she's ready to get moving. So I don't know if that answered the question, but again, you can paint the picture with any scenario, as crazy as it is, or as as not. So
I do want to add, I think the biggest difference and the struggle going from seeing people face to face to doing this virtually is you lose that. People forget to build that relationship or identify needs and connect with a person. Like, I'm listening to Jaime going, there's no way people aren't going to buy because she's genuinely asking questions and she's finding out about them, about their spouse, about their goals, about what they want, about their fears. Dude, how is she not going to make a sale? They're definitely going to trust her. They're definitely going to like her. And I think a lot of times people skip through that part too fast and they just go into it's very transactional. This is not a transactional business. It's an emotional business. If you're not building that emotional connection with people, dude, you're not going to make it. And even if you're making it, I promise you, if Jamie calls that client after you, they'll leave you and go with her because they want to connect with you. And the last thing I'm going to say is, when people, sometimes people just make statements or say stuff because they want to test you. Like every time someone comes to my house to do work, building contractors, whether it's electrical, plumbing, anything, because I grew up in a way that I know how to pretty much do anything. And I'm somewhat knowledgeable. Dude, I test contractors. I ask them questions just to see how they answer. And I'm not messing with them. I'm just making sure that they're qualified to help me, if that makes sense. So a lot of times someone goes, I want $1 million. I'm 79. They're not stupid. They're 79. They're not stupid. They know that if they're going to get $1 million in coverage, they probably can't. But if they were able to get it, it would probably cost them $10,000 a month and they're not going to afford it anyway. They're messing with you, testing you to see A, how good you handle that kind of thing, and B, if you know what you're talking about and if you're going to tell them the truth. That's all they're looking for. And I think how direct Jamie is, while being so kind and compassionate, dude, everybody can do that. Like I have no doubt everybody can do what she just did. It's just a matter of really making sure you make a note to do that. And so what I would advise y'all to do is start playing a game with everybody you ever meet and talk to. And your parents, your kids, your spouse, dude, answer every question they ask you with another question and see how far you can get. Because the person who's asking all the questions in the conversation is in control. And the more questions you ask, the more ammunition you have. And when they shoot at you with an objection, dude, you have an arsenal full of bullets that you can fire back at them. And that's what she's doing. She's filing all those answers in the file cabinet, or she's writing it down so that she can recall it. And when they say something stupid like, I think I need to think about it. Well, Tom, you said if you die tomorrow, your wife's up the creek without a paddle. Is that really how you want to leave her? I mean, are you 100% sure you're not going to die tomorrow? And the answer is going to be no, because nobody's 100%. And even if they are, they're not going to say it because they think it's going to jinx them. So like, no. Okay, then. So why are we why are we, is there something that I've not done for you, not answered, not helped you with, not made you feel comfortable, Tom? Because from where I'm sitting, you can't really afford to wait on this. God forbid you don't wake up tomorrow morning. So go ahead, Jamie. I'm sorry, but that was such a good point about the compassionate and digging, because I think it's very easy to lose sight of that on virtually or over the phone, because you're not sitting face to face with somebody. You're not seeing pictures on the wall. You're not seeing their grandkids run around or kids run around. You're just on a phone call. You know, you might hear a kid in the background that might trigger you, but you've got to learn to do that.
Yeah,
Huh?
you can pick up on those little things.
For sure.
You just have to be you have to be aware. Like, you have like don't be so quick to move to the next section of your client worksheet. Sometimes you have to slow down for a second and get to understand who these people are. Like if they're married, you might want to say, well, how long have you been married? Or if they say they have kids, oh, okay, so how many do you have? Well, I've got 5. Okay, any grands yet? You have to talk to them like a normal person would talk to them, not like a salesperson trying to give them another quote, because they don't need another quote. They don't want another bill. You cannot be another bill. If you become another bill, they're not going to do business with you. And I'll leave you with this. I was doing telesales just to make sure that I could train people on how to do telesales. And I don't remember exactly what the full number was, but I did it for like 2 weeks, and I don't know, we're like 8,000 one week, 7,000 the next week. And I still have every single policy. Every single policy that I wrote is still on the books today. Every single one. And I'm just letting you guys know that like when I picked it up, I hadn't been doing it for years. I hadn't sold an insurance policy for years. I was like, I need to figure this thing out because I'm going to train people and be able to coach people. I need to know how to do it. But I think that when you are that personal with how it is that you present and it's a plan and they visualize this thing in their head, they don't want to let it go. They're not going to let this plan go. Because in their head, they're replaying it. Every time it comes out, they're replaying the plan in their head. They're replaying that exactly what they're going to do with the money and exactly how it's going to take care of her bills and exactly how it's going to bury him and exactly how Jennifer's not going to have to come with the check out in their hand. Exactly how Miss Betty can use this as a bridge to get to the next season of her life because his income's now gone. Every single time it comes out of their checking account, they are playing it over and over and over again in their head, and they are not going to let it go. And I think if you can get that delivered, then you're going to, one, increase the amount of business that stays on the books. You'll probably get more referrals, and you'll probably just have all around fun time with this. Like it can be fun. Like I love talking to these people. Like they're nice. I mean, you get some crabby ones, but like if you just kind of meet them where they're at and make a joke about how crabby they are, they like all of a sudden stop being crabby. It's like you can have fun with this. Stop taking it so seriously. But also you need to have a little grit and a little grind and get after itness and just have some compassion about what it is that the importance of your job. Every single one of you, what you do is so important to families. And I think sometimes we all just see the numbers and we see the money and we see the leaderboards and we see what this one did and that one did. Guys, do you know what difference you are making in people's households every single day by helping them with a plan? You are making a huge difference, and you have to be reminded of that every single day. Maybe that's part of your affirmations in the morning. I'm making a difference in people's lives today. I'm putting them in a better position than what they said, than what they woke up with this morning. I am making a difference. I matter. My job matters. And what I do is going to matter in everybody's life that I talk to today. And I'm going to help them with insurance. And I'm not wondering if they're going to do an application. They're doing an application because they've already been thinking about it. They don't need to think about it anymore with me. Today we're putting an application in. So we put a plan in place for their family. And these are the things that you need to be saying to yourself all day long before every phone call, in the morning, as you're going through your day. There isn't a person that you talk to that it wasn't worth it. Every person you speak to is worth it, and your time was worth it with them. And don't think anything different because they need you. Probably way more than you needed their $2,000 AP. I promise you that. So that's what I got
Can
tonight,
you answer
guys.
this question, Jamie? This is a good question. What do you say to someone that thinks they saw a much lower price than in reality? It's a good question because people see stuff.
Again, I mean, when you are plan focused, you're not price focused. And so you have to take their price focus and move it to a plan focus. And how you do that is paint the picture like we just talked about. They might be like, I just wanted a quote. Yep, I got you. I got you, Mr. John. We are going to get to that quote. Oh, Lordy, I love giving quotes. But we need to figure out exactly what the plan's going to be. So God forbid you don't wake up tomorrow, Mr. John. We got everything covered. Does that make sense? All right, just bear with me. I know we want to move fast here, but I just want to make sure we give you the best recommendation, okay? So, Mr. John, tell me a little bit about what's going on. Who's going to be picking up the pieces if you don't wake up tomorrow? And so I've now regained control. I told him, I agree with him. I told him we were going to do what he wanted to do, but now I've got him back in alignment and I'm back in control of asking the questions and leading them down the pathway of painting the picture of what life's going to look like tomorrow if there is no plan in place. Yes, I understand they have to afford it, but guys, we're all dealing with the same numbers here. we're all dealing with the same numbers. They might have saw something that's accident only. I'm not entertaining what they saw. I'm giving them a plan for today. And today, I've got the person on the phone. I'm in control, and I'm making sure that their family's protected because they've already been putting it off. If they've seen numbers, they've already been thinking about it, and they still haven't done it. If they were looking at prices, why didn't they just do that other price? If that price was so dang cheap, why didn't they just do it? Because they know it's not a plan, it's a bill. You need to paint the picture and give them the plan that's giving their family peace of mind in the event tomorrow they don't wake up, period.
That's dope. I do want to say something. and I'm going to say it. I wasn't going to. Then I'm like, what would Sean do? WWSD. So like, if you don't have a red jacket, can you please not answer questions in the text? Like, and I don't know if people are being funny, but like, this is the reason FFL grew so fast is because for the longest time, nobody was allowed to train unless they were absolutely slaying it. And we still do that. Like if someone's on this call, they're killing it. They're killing it. Or they've done enough over a long period of time where they've earned that right. So if you don't have a red jacket and people are asking questions, please don't answer. Because, you know, not that I don't appreciate you trying to help, but we're trying to help people make money. And some of the answers I'm seeing of people replying, I'm going like, that's absolutely not right. So I'm sorry if you think I'm a dick. I'm not trying to be. I'm just trying to be brutally honest with everybody and get folks to understand. You want questions, get a hold of the people that you see on the leaderboard, the Elite 8, the people that are still in it, the folks that got green jackets, which is the annuity. Folks got red jackets like Dean and Jesse and Deepa. Like, get a hold of those people. Jonna, there's tons of them in this group. So I don't want to start naming people out. Get with them and ask questions. If the speaker of the meeting doesn't get to it, find somebody. So again, I apologize for that. I don't want to screw this. This was such a good call, but I think that needs to be said because I'm watching this going like, seriously, I can't believe somebody would type that. So anyway, I'm good.
Well, and it's actually it's valid because guys, are you gonna like I think Frank or somebody came through like, would you take advice from someone who's not where you want to be? No, why would you do that? Like, we don't, and I know you whoever is giving the advice, it's just like you in your heart you want to help, and I get that. We've all been there. But sometimes we just gotta sit this one out. Like, I don't know that one. Let me pass the one to Jesse, or let me give that one to Mike, or you know what, I gotta give that one to Dean, or just sit that one out. It's okay. But I want you to hustle and grind so we can get you on here. So you're the next one giving the people what's going on.
That's right.
To tell them how to do it. So guys, thanks for having us on the call. Let's collectively make a few of these adjustments and changes. Anybody can do it. It's almost like head knowledge to heart. You just got to get it out of your head that you're giving them prices, and let it really soak into your heart of what you do and how you change people's lives. And I'm telling you, you continually do the right thing over and over again for people, and the numbers just go through the roof. You don't have to worry. You don't have to think about it. It's like clockwork because you truly care about people and you care about what it is you do, and you take having an insurance license seriously, and you should be honored to have an insurance license and be able to serve these people. So thanks for having me on the call, guys. Let's make it a great week.
Absolutely. Appreciate y'all. Have a great night. Thank you,
Let's
babe.
get this, let's get the attendance up next week. We need 200 on next week. So see you guys
No doubt.
next Monday.
Let's do it.